Hello and welcome everyone to Let's Play Tomb Raider 2 Remastered. This is guys 115 speaking, and let me welcome you to the Wreck of the Maria Doria. A very good name for, I believe, all 4 levels of this shipwreck that we are exploring. We are going to find all 3 secrets, we are going to get our hands on all 41 goodies. However, we are only going to kill 30 out of 35 enemies, because this is a no fish soup today achievement run, meaning that we are not going to kill any sharks, and what I also recommend, not kill any barracudas accompanying the sharks often, right? So there are going to be 2 sharks in this level, which we're not going to kill, and 3 accompanying barracudas to make our lives easier. I'm doing this because I assume most of you guys are interested in all the achievements and the most convenient way to obtain them rather than all the kills. However, for the rest of us, who are just as bloodthirsty like I am, I'm gonna have an all kills playthrough compilation in the second part of the video. So in case you need tips and tricks on how to kill all the enemies, especially as it pertains to maintaining a good harpoon gun ammunition count, be on the lookout for that in the second part of the video. There are also some breakaway objects here, and we are gonna unlock this level's 1 achievement at essentially the very final stage of the level, okay? Which is a direct translation of achievement from retro achievements, but I'm gonna talk a bit more about that later on. Now, in case you haven't seen my previous video, so as to avoid confusion, I am doing 2 alternate runs ever since we finished diving area of the following 4 underwater Maria Doria levels. We already did that for 40 fathoms. The reason is the no fish soup today achievement. So this save file I'm using for making progress there, and that is not being bitten by sharks and also not hurting them in any sense, and often associated barracudas. And following that, I'm gonna give you tips and tricks in each of these levels on how to land all the kills, okay? So I have separate, proper 100% kill save slots for that. Other than the kills, however, these playthroughs are identical, okay? And of course, in this playthrough, you will find that we have plenty of harpoon gun ammunition because we haven't really used any, and if you're not interested in all the kills, you never even need to touch the weapon. But it's going to be a different story in the second part of the video. Now, without further ado, let's dive in, because the way this level starts is an absolute nightmare. We will be assaulted by a diver. Now remember the evasive maneuvers we mastered back in diving area. Whenever you see those trays of bubbles, that means that a harpoon has been shot at us. What we want to do is circle around this guy well enough until we're able to climb up and take care of him with a non-harpoon weapon, okay? There we go. See, once we climb to the solid surface, they are harmless. Now, normally I would recommend you take him out with a harpoon gun, seeing how much ammo we have, but I just want to share tips on how to preserve the harpoon gun ammunition in case you are interested in all the kills and are not doing the no fish soup today achievement. Talking about harpoon gun ammunition, there it is. Now, the reason I said that this level's beginning is an absolute nightmare is not just this diver, it's really essentially right what's around the corner, but boy, do I have a trick for you. So, first of all, let's get our hands on a large med pack, and I think this is essentially the first time in Tomb Raider 2 we see this kind of level design, where the developers have essentially ordered you to take massive amounts of damage, and in a way of saying sorry, just put a med pack on the ground. Let me explain. There are 4 breakaway tiles, and underneath this is a long drop that you can survive with... maybe we can get a glimpse there. Yeah, not that well, but it's a drop that you can survive even with less than full health, but just barely, okay? And we're gonna see this kind of nonsense implemented later on in the level as well, and also in the final of these 4 underwater levels, and I'm not a fan of this. Using medpacks should in a sense be a recovery from you making mistake, not part of the level design, I think so anyway. But there's a way to do this to minimize the damage, and heck, even use a safety drop to minimize the damage. And also, some of you might already be familiar with the trick. You'll essentially want to drop down using one of these tiles, not these, because these have a slightly longer drop down than these ones because of a small step underneath. Furthermore, you can do it in a way that you run towards a breakaway tile as the one you're on is crumbling and grab it, and therefore end up making a safety drop, okay? This isn't news. This has been known in Tomb Raider community for quite some time. But if, like me, you are interested in breaking all these breakaway tiles, there is a special physics-defying way to do it, to break all of them and still minimize the damage when falling down, okay? I found that really interesting. And before you're wondering, no, the glitch whereupon the tile is breaking away and you're making a sidestep that we used for our, I think, timed run for Tomb Raider 1, that no longer works in Tomb Raider 2, okay? Trust me, I've tried. So unfortunately, if that glitch was to work, we would take no damage whatsoever, but alas, that's no longer the case. But let me show you what I mean. Let yourself fall, immediately roll, make a middle roll here, then a side flip here, and now run forward and hold action, and Lara will grab it. Now this in its own right is physics defying, right? There's no way why this should let go, whilst this should hold on, really. It doesn't make sense. But if you want to break it, just climb on top of it and still grab it in time before it starts collapsing, and you have broken all 4 breakaway tiles and minimized the falling damage. Okay, so this is really the best way I found of doing it. Again, if there's an even better one, let me know. And again, my favorite Tomb Raider YouTuber, Icor, he managed to find a way where, using enough momentum from these falling tiles, you can actually run forward towards this corner and end up falling into the water over here, negating any damage altogether. However, that only seems to work for the Android mobile port of the game, because the engine is a little bit different there, and it doesn't seem to work either for the PC or PlayStation originals nor the remasters on any platform, right? So this is, I think, the definitive way for Tomb Raider remasters that it can be done. And now, let me get our hands on the lovely M16, because there are 2 particularly sniper-worthy enemies coming around the corner. And we want to minimize any damage we take, okay? Before we check what those guys have dropped, let's keep in mind that in order to finish the level, you need to go here with 3 key items in your inventory. However, you don't really need to do that if you're okay popping roughly 5 or 6 large medpacks, because we need 3 key items to overcome a fire trap in order to preserve our health, but it's not really needed, and it's a trick I'm going to show you when we'll be doing our time trial, so be on the lookout for that. For now, let's finish the level properly and explore it thoroughly, starting with this level's first secret. Now, unfortunately, Lara doesn't know how to crawl yet. It's going to take another year for her to learn that, so our only way is to find a secret tunnel to get there, okay? Keep in mind the goodies dropped by these hoodlums. I hope I got all of them. Awesome. 2 small medpacks, you don't really see that often. And this is it. It's a little hidey hole. Now, again, I recommend using a flare over here, just by the virtue of it being so dark. I'm gonna show you something neat here. We're gonna use this flare as a bit of a reference point. We are not alone here. Grab the shotgun, because around the corner, you can already see him, is another shotgunner trying to ambush us, but you know how I love ambushing them instead. There we go. He does not drop anything. Now, the good thing is that the flare is still there, because the moment we cross this threshold, it will allow us to see that we are being ambushed again. There he is, walking towards our general direction, okay? So again, lie in wait. It's best to wait first and ambush him, then go for the secret pickup, because then when climbing up, you might be incredibly vulnerable, right? So why would we want that? And there we go, that's our first prize. Ooh, it feels like we really had to fight for you, Stone Dragon. Okay, and now we can just make it all the way back. And as a bit of a testament to the flares, look, it was still burning after all this time. It's incredible how long they last. Which is something that's not the case in New Game Plus. They, I think, have the same duration they do in Tomb Raider 3, so not much at all. By the way, you can squeeze in through this furniture, in case you were wondering. You can see it in better detail in the original graphics, because it's not quite as dark, but let's see the pattern anyway. Yeah, I think this is really an Art Deco kind of pattern. Interesting, so it would be early teens from the previous century or 1920s, that sort of thing. Really lovely. And again, it's a level where we are going to truly appreciate the beauty of the shipwreck. And even now you might have noticed there is a pool above us, and we apparently entered from an upside down pool drainage or ventilation or heating system, and then dropped from the pool onto the roof, and all these were changing cabins, right? It's just really interesting like that. And look at the diving board. We're not gonna make a use of it like we could in Lara's home, unfortunately. But it gets even more beautiful than that, however, behind two movable crates. I'm not even sure what material these are from. I think they would be rattan crates or something like that. Made out of fibers with holes in them, something along the lines. Like you can buy cheap chairs and tables from. There are actually two entrances we can cover. The corridor where I'm putting the block is actually completely empty and devoid of any features or objects or anything like that. Perhaps a bit confusingly, this corridor branches off to another side corridor to the left. But once again, there's nothing in it, okay? So I even illuminated it with flare at one point, but to no avail. Okay, but first let's uncover this passage, and you know what, I think I'm gonna leave the third crate pulling for some other time, because I just don't want us to push 3 blocks at the same time. That would be pretty damn annoying. And I think it's most efficient to go to that area anyway, but you know what, let's at least do this. And I'm gonna put it into the tunnel a bit more. It's almost like this level doesn't want you to get to its good parts in the very beginning. It's really interesting. Who thought putting 3 blocks clustered together like this is a fun idea? I truly do not know. Nevertheless, get a shotgun out and turn back because you will be ambushed. Oh, this is a good shot. Careful. It's not over yet. Whew, Lara, you made some excellent use of that shotgun. And there we go, large medpack and flares. This guy doesn't drop anything, but this is the best way to survive the ambush. Don't be surprised if sometimes this shotgun wielder will end up wandering around and not making his way to this corridor, okay? It can absolutely happen. Now, I'm gonna get our M16 out and try and kill another enemy from distance. Good. Again, we need to preserve as much health as we possibly can. And I mean, just look at this place. I don't know if there used to be a ballroom or something like that, or maybe even some sort of grand Titanic-esque staircase. You can see it branching to the left and to the right. We are actually going to find ourselves here, but not on the carpet side, but sort of the ceiling side. And I just try to imagine how beautiful it was. I think one of Tomb Raider level editor's custom levels was playing the Wreck of Maria Doria, the deck, and these levels and living quarters, but not turned upside down, but the proper way up. And it made for really interesting levels. I can't recommend that level enough. If I'll find a link for it, I'm gonna add it in the description below, okay? So first of all, before we even try and dream about going up, we need to open that dark panel in the distance, okay? We will end up opening it for a particularly beautiful and quaint cafe attached to this large room. But now, I would like to make a jump through these and not take any damage. Wonderful, just to save time. And now, what I recommend is essentially just run forward and hold action. There we go. You'll find yourself in a corridor with a key. This is really nastily hidden, but I like this because we haven't really had a traversal challenge quite like this yet in the franchise. If we look at it from a chronological order, what we picked up is the restroom key. I think a better hint would be a cafe key or something like that, because it would at least tell you where the restroom is, okay? But no, we haven't yet found one. And now, let's just make a flip like this. We avoided the glass shards. And this way you will have taken no damage from that, which is simply wonderful. By the way, you can already go up, pick up ammo that the rifleman dropped, and also a key item in the corner over there, but all in due time. I'm gonna show you what I think is the most efficient way to do this, okay? Maybe to make up for the fact we had to pull and push crates for so long, which, talking about those, let's get to it. And as tempting as it might be to just get it out of the way while pushing it forward like this, you would end up blocking your path to that grand staircase room, and yeah, I do not recommend, because we need it. And if you want, you know what, my OCD compels me. I really want to get it out of the way, you know what I mean? And later on in the level, there will be an ambush here, and it might make the navigation easier if we move it out of the way. But just look at this. once again, I did not want to talk through the music because I think it's an absolutely excellent pick. I think what would make this place better would be a couple of skeletons lying around, right? But I guess they didn't go quite that far. But you can just get the impression of the tragedy that has struck. And we already know that the father of the monk being interrogated in the diving area is responsible for this. Now let's press the button and get your guns out. A particularly clever ambush. I love the idea that he was waiting here all along. But yeah, we are essentially competing with Marco Bartoli's henchmen, finding the so-called Seraph in the wreck of his father's ship. It must be especially emotional for him, I think, to go through a place where his father and plenty of people died, you know? No wonder he hates those monks. Okay, lovely. And now we enter that panel I talked about earlier in the other room. By the way, before you leave, it's gonna save you a lot of time, even though it might not necessarily make much sense right now. Press this button again and close that door, because this now creates a passage to a key item from the inside, and we'll get here via a trapdoor once we solve a particular challenge a bit later on in the level, okay? So it's all well thought out, please, trust me. But anyway, this cafe for me, it makes up so much of the atmosphere of this level. It's kind of incredible, really. Okay. For a while in that corridor, I again experienced a stutter and lost control of Lara for a while, and I'm really worried that if that happens at a particularly awkward timing, I might have to restart the whole level again. We'll see how long I'll hold off saving for this one. Okay, so mind the ammunition dropped here. By the way, these lamps over here, they were not even 3D when the remasters originally released. This was a sort of a visual overhaul later on. And I do believe this is Marie Antoinette's portrait after all. You know, I talked about it briefly back in Bartoli's hideout, but I think this is the real deal now. Awesome. But look at those rays of light, and of course they created additional geography behind the window, so you see it's caved in. What you perhaps cannot really see well like this is that there's supposed to be water, and if one of these glasses was to break, then we might end up being flooded, so thank God that didn't happen, okay? Okay, by the way, this is how you can make it to the center area via shimmying like this. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, you can climb up. Or if you're a big fan of shimmying, you can even shimmy more further and then make it all the way there for the first of the 3 key items we need to get our hands on. But I prefer to do it a bit later on once we find ourselves here via entering the trapdoor. It seems ridiculous to just let a key item alone like this, but trust me, it's gonna come together in a much cooler way if we just let it go for now, okay? Now, we'll need a rusty key to open this door to continue. For that, we need to solve a bit of a navigational and confusing challenge in rather unremarkable environments. This here is my favorite. It's a so-called empty room of emptiness with nothing inside. Wonderful, no? But at least we got to turn that wheel, which I always find immensely satisfying. Now, that first room can give you a bit of a sense of false security, because the one over here is a long drop down, so make sure to do a safety drop. I can't begin to tell you how many times I just moved forward and lost majority of our health over here. Yeah. So, learning from my past mistakes, there is lots of block pushing. Again, this entire gauntlet just seems designed to postpone you getting to the good parts. It's grating how much of the level design is just about slowing you down in this one. I get why people are not fans or do not like this level. I do love it purely by the atmosphere, but if I was to put the atmosphere aside and be, you know, perhaps a little bit objective, which I'm not even gonna attempt to do, I don't think anyone really can to an extent, I would say this is perhaps even worse than 40 Fathoms, because it's that kind of design ideology, but just more of it. And on top of that, mandatory damage all across the level. It's gonna be insane, but that's why I'm here to guide you. Okay, we open up a way up top, and again, this is thankfully a movable block. Since we made a bridge using the lower one, we can now do this. Oh, and by the way, I think we can peek through it. This is an interesting corridor. There are 2 more pullable or pushable crates on the other side. We'll get to interact with them from the other side before we can make it to that corridor, okay? If you find any way of corner glitching through these, all you will miss is essentially 1 kill. So if you can live with that, then by all means do it. just maybe save beforehand. You never know if Lara's gonna disappear in an empty void when that happens. And by the way, we are on the other side of the door that was at the end of the rusty corridor. This door is never gonna open, but at least we made it to the room behind it, so the mystery as to what's on the other side is solved. Get your shotgun ready, for there'll be an ambush. Okay, unfortunately he doesn't really drop anything. Alrighty. Now, let me pull this crate towards a lever. And this is a point where I often got stuck as a kid, because I just immediately climbed up and I didn't realize in those old graphics, as I made it around the crate, that there is a key here. Somehow I just missed it. To be fair, it's much easier to see now in the remasters, okay? No, Lara, do not climb up, please. Push it. This key I always found incredibly missable, even in the smoother PC graphics of the original. I don't know why. So I would actually make it to the lever, press it, get out, and be like, okay, well, what was the point of the whole exercise? Okie dokie. So like I said, we've been on the other side of that rusty door over there. There's only one door we left unexplored, and unfortunately, it leads to more block pulling and pushing. By the way, I do appreciate the keyholes themselves are upside down. This is awesome. I don't remember exactly, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, if you played maybe the originals recently, but I don't think the keyholes were upside down back then, and I think I even complained about it, but maybe my memory is just completely distorted and this was always the case. Do let me know in case you know. Okay. And again, we're gonna just extend a bridge to give us a longer platform to move more blocks on. That's essentially the whole ordeal, and whilst doing that, we need to go around these over and over and over. Sometimes it's faster to just, you know, make a standing jump on the block, immediately roll, and hold action, but release before grabbing. That's the quickest way I found of getting behind blocks for these kinds of pushing and pulling exercises. Okay, we'll pull this back one more time to reveal another movable block. And that's the one we've seen from the other side, where I gave you the photo mode sneak peek, okay? And now we actually get to push it inside. Awesome. I guess maybe technically we could push it outside. Would there be enough space? Yeah, no, I don't think so. We need to push it inside. But like I said, we've been on the other side over there, okay? And this is the corridor we took a sneak peek at. Oh, this is a lot of fun. And if we'll have no stutters, I'll even make it. And jump back. This is the safest way I know of, because using the left path you will trigger all those rolling barrels. And now you can just use the right path to make it safely across. If you find yourself on the other side with no breakaway tiles, you are still fine. Okay, you can just make a running jump. It's as easy as that. Do not forget about the rusty corridor over here. But immediately upon climbing up, well, let me show you. The barrels will thankfully fall down in an arc above Lara's head, okay? If you were to try just hold on to it, like with barrels back in, let's say, Colosseum of Tomb Raider 1 or St. Francis Folly, they would actually kill you. They are not a boulder, they have a bit of a different hitboxes, they're actually even easier to jump over, but that's why I recommend triggering and then hiding in the corner over there. Anywho, that second secret being ours, absolutely wonderful. And the third one will be surrounded by sharks aplenty. And now, if you forgive me, I am going to save the game here. Now, this is our No Fish Soup Today run, yet. So, I'm gonna make a save here. Okay, now I can hear the heavy breathing, but I'd rather him be ambushed by us than the other way around. Let's check the photo mode. There he is. Okay, and now. Yeah, close call there, but we managed to do it before he took a shot at us. Okay, so the point of this area is to get rid of the water under this safety boat. To do that, we'll need to trigger a mechanism in a trap very reminiscent of Natla's Mine's secret, okay? If you play Tomb Raider 1 and we're kind of after all the secrets, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Now let me climb onto this. Okay, this looks leagues better than it did in the originals. You can even see the moss and some depth to it, even though Lara levitates on top of it. So again, mechanically it's not changed, but visually it makes all the difference. Love touches like these. And yeah, this is the trap I've been talking about. Now let's see if I can recreate an achievement we unlocked back in Tomb Raider 1. And there we go. So this should be very familiar. The door will, of course, close behind you. The moment you start sliding, the trapdoor will open, revealing glass shards. I think in Atlas Mines it was lava rather than spikes, but yeah, functionally it just means instant death. It's the same thing. You can overcome it just by making a jump like this, okay? Now let's press the lever and open up an interesting paneling leading to another ground area. But just like in Atlas Mines for that achievement, I'd like to make it out in a similar way, if Lara would cooperate. But you also need to make it a grabbing jump. Whoa! Ah, there we go. And we avoided that trapdoor altogether. If there would be an achievement for this, I would feel very accomplished, but there isn't. And that door closes behind us for whatever reason. So they decided it's a good idea to add this lever here. Frankly, I do not understand why. Make sure to not just run and use full momentum, because Lara will fall onto the boat and take some falling damage, okay? That can be pretty damn vicious. Okay, there we go. And now, another use for our lovely M16. Don't worry, we should still be fine ammunition-wise. Oh, someone's firing at us, someone we can't see. Another shotgun sniper, there you are. Okay, I think we made a quick work of them, and we even avoided getting a blast of shotgun into our face, which is always appreciated. I really like what they've done with this area. So there's still carpeting, but now some of it is peeling off and more water leakage is here. And this essentially, once upon a time, was a lovely glass dome, a roof. Now all broken, turned upside down with dangerous glass shards. So you do not want to fall here under any circumstances. And again, shafts of light penetrating from the outside, whereas before it was just hollow like this, okay? So, absolutely wonderful. Big fan what they did with it. No, Lara, not your pistols, please. But first, let's press a button to be able to get down safely. We need to now go all the way around this place. There we go. Oh, and more water casting effects on the floor here. Absolutely wonderful. That's what I mean by there being water on the other side. It not just being blue and empty. And now, running jump should just about do it. Wonderful. There's a key item there, but that's going to be the last thing we do in here. First of all, incredibly easy to miss, and I often miss it and then have to end up going back. This button, surrounded by darkness, I would wish the lamps would still work, or at least flicker, so it would draw our attention to it. And there we go. We did away with the water next to the safety escape boat. Right now, what I'm focusing on is to pick up the goodies left by these henchmen. That's a small medpack. I'm not sure if there's... No, I think that's it, actually. Neither the shotgunner or the other rifleman drops anything, but, well, there you have it. But now, in order to get up, you'll need this trapdoor opening over here. And actually, its mechanism is, well, very subtle. You need to step on the tile with the key item you're after. And my friends, we got our hands on the first of the 3 circuit breakers. Now, do not worry. That doesn't mean it's going to take this long to get the other 2. Times 2, right? No, nothing like that. They're going to be clustered closely together, and if you've been paying attention, we already could have gotten our hands on one, but I decided to do it a bit later because I think it's more efficient. So, soon we'll be halfway across the level. Let's make the safety drop here, just not to overjump there. And now, oh boy, mandatory damage time, and unfortunately, I know of no way to avoid this. But we still have over half our health, which is good. Again, make sure to land on the safety boat. I mean, it'd be difficult not to, but using some momentum when running into the hole, you could actually end up not only not making a safety drop, but falling next to it and take massive amounts of damage, possibly even break your neck with the health we had available. Okay, that's essentially it. We wrapped up our business here. Now, this is a part where I think the level design is actually really ingenious. When you realize how connected it is, because when we fall down here, we'll find ourselves on the other side of the openable windows over here. And now, guys, you understand why I took care to close them. If we wouldn't, we'd be stuck in these 2 tiles. We'd have to press the button over here and open up a trapdoor next to the break room button, okay? So it would just mean you'd have to do a little bit more back and forth, whereas this way we could just grab the circuit breaker immediately, okay? No need to press this button. This would just close up the path in the grand staircase room. As for the button we just press, well, this is essentially it. This is a trapdoor leading to the cafe, but we don't need to go there. Instead, let's collect our third circuit breaker. Now you see what I meant by them being really close together, okay? Because here we find ourselves and we can just make a running jump over there and pick it up. Now, the moment you make it on that platform, the pathfinding kicks in one of the enemies, usually a wrench-wielding henchman, because these guys are strong enough to climb, and he should be somewhere under now. Maybe he is, maybe he's not, but I'm not gonna take any chances. Oh, there he is. Okay, so with a bit of a delay. There we go. There's a rifleman patrolling with him as well, but those guys cannot climb up or down, which means we should be, in theory, able to wait for him here. Okay, and you know what? Since we're the ones setting up an ambush, we might as well use a shotgun for this, I think so anyway. There he is. Okay. Wonderful. We're putting that shotgun to great use. We only have 2 shots left, which might not be great, but then again, I can't think of better situations to use them. So, my friends, we are back at the pool where it all, well, almost kind of started, and we are now entering the second stage of the level. Yes, it is a big level, almost Tomb Raider 3 sized. So now we can finally get into this pool, and by the way, everything after you've sort of dropped down here from those breakaway tiles, up until this point is purely optional if you have the medpacks to spare, because we don't need those 3 circuit breakers, strictly speaking, to finish the level. But now I'm gonna make another save here, because we're gonna go through this level's most dangerous encounter, not counting the sharks, of course. And we're gonna put M16 again to great use. There we go. Now, before we climb out, I'd like to take a peek with the photo mode to see especially how far this guy is, because he can easily push us down into the water. Okay, but I think he's far enough. Let's immediately climb up, get M16 out, and fire! Okay, that went pretty well, dare I say. So we took care of all 3 of them, and we did not get pushed back into the water. We had to sustain a few bullets from the rifleman, but otherwise that's it. Wonderful. Very happy with how this turned out. Let's not forget either of the care packages these guys leave behind. And now, the reason why we've been even bothering with most of this level, collecting the 3 circuit breakers. And that's because we want to get rid of these 3 fires to pull the block all the way over here and climb up. However, what you can also do is to stand as much left as possible while still being able to grab the block and essentially pull it without Lara catching on fire, but due to the proximity of the flames still taking massive damage, okay? So you can make a trade-off of 5 or 6 large health packs to make it without using those circuit breakers, and that's gonna be my mission to show you when we'll be doing our time trial video. It's gonna be a lot of fun, trust me. The way these levels can be skipped, I think, is way cooler than in Tomb Raider 1. But with all 3 fires safely out of the way, we don't have to worry about that. We still haven't used the medpack, and I think we are in an absolutely excellent shape to beat this level without doing that. We'll see. Although, it'd be much bigger challenge to have to do that without saving or loading and getting all secrets, as the retro achievements would ask of you. And that was a bit of a nightmare. Thankfully, it was not associated with pistols only run. That'd be even worse. Okay, so now up we go, and you know what? We're gonna use those final 2 shotgun shells for something cool, or... Oh wait, we have more now, because we picked up some from the fallen enemies. Wonderful. So yeah, whenever these henchmen try to ambush you like this, shotgun is the answer. On normal difficulty, that is. Now, if you're wondering what on earth that ungodly sound was, it's these pistons moving a bit up, allowing us to make it across. By the way, you don't have to worry about safety rail at the top. Instinctively, I'm drawn to overcoming these from a side where there's no safety rail at the top, because I'm thinking, what if Lara hits her head on it? But no, the way these are angled, that will never happen. So it's more just an environmental detail you can absolutely ignore. And out of this engine, well, here maybe it would pose to be an obstacle. Okay, so just jump on the left side. Here, we are entering another beautiful part of the ship. just one roll. I was holding the roll key to see if we could do 10-10 achievement, but unfortunately that's not the case. Great Wall of China is still the best place, or of course Croft Manor if you don't mind corner glitching, like I've shown in my previous video. Now let's get those guns out. By the way, I want to talk about this. Shortly after release, these lights were just here, static sources of light, whereas in the original graphics they were flickering, which was incredibly atmospheric. Sorry if you're sensitive to flashing lights. Here they dampen it down a little, which I'm a fan of. There are people with epilepsy and other issues where that could trigger something. But this flickering effect was missing here shortly after the release, and it was even made a point in some of the patch notes of the previous patches that this was now re-added. It really feels like Tomb Raider 2 on release received the worst treatment. They were just rushing to get things done as soon as possible. So in a sense I'm very happy tackling Tomb Raider 1 took us as long as it did, because now we're enjoying it in its full spectacular beauty. But still, I'd like to live in a world where all these patch improvements are implemented on release. Anyhow, where are we right now? Well, this is really interesting. First of all, let me give you another grand sweeping shot of an area we'll be in very soon. There we go. So here you can already observe a couple of barracudas and a shark. There are in fact 2 sharks and 3 barracudas over here. And if we switch into original graphics, you can even make out a key there, which now is hidden by a seaweed. Again, when you're searching for goodies underwater, I recommend switching to original graphics. Even though it's darker, you can make up for that by drawing a flare, and because of the lack of foliage, items will be much easier to see. But I'm happy that's not the case in the Remastered. That's something I was even hoping. They're gonna use foliage to good effect by hiding items in it, back when we seen the release trailers and even some previews. And that has came to pass, which is simply awesome. So, also this is the place where you would see the ship wheel for controlling it, and I assume these are navigation pressure valves, and also these allow you to turn the ship in either direction. Imagine the panic the captain must have been through, yeah, when it was bombed by a random monk on board. Now we want to get inside this captain's cabin over here and open the trapdoor inside, because that leads into the final area of the level. However, the means to reach it are a bit convoluted. So, first of all, very easy to miss automatic pistols ammunition over here. Since these have now fully replaced our pistols, I can't be grateful enough for them. Until, of course, we'll move on to Uzis. And behind this door, we'll start a gauntlet of switches and levers back and forth, and again this just feels like it's here to drag this level on. The more I play it, the more critical I am of it, right? Now inside this room, please don't miss the box of flares over here. I always used to move this crate to the back and then glitching my way in between the crate and the door over here. But the intended way is to just push it here, because this is a completely empty space, okay? But I love the fact that this texture is somehow still here preserved. It always seemed a bit weird to me, but you're not supposed to see it, technically speaking. There we go, the whole point was just to reveal the switch, okay? And this should open up a trapdoor, leading to an area that I always dread whenever I think of replaying Tomb Raider 2. Whenever I replay these games, even just for fun and recreation, you know, not for guides or anything, I always 100% them, right? That's what fulfills me the most, that's what I have most fun doing. But this trapdoor leads to an area that fills me with dread every time. By the way, can we see something interesting in the reflections over here? I guess that's supposed to be water surface at the top, and... well, I really have no idea what we're looking at. Well, before it was absolutely nothing, so I still prefer it. Gives us a sense that there's deep water on the other side, which is what it's supposed to be. Okay, so let me make a save here. Remember, we are tackling No Fish Soup today achievement. There be sharks, and we must not hurt them or get bitten. Everything's a fair game for the barracudas, but just for sort of an easiness sake when it comes to this achievement, I'm not going to engage the barracudas either. If you are interested in all the kills, be on the lookout for the second part of the video, where I'm going to show you how to obliterate all of these fish. Okay. Now remember, if you hear this sound, you have failed the achievement. Doesn't matter that you did not actually get bitten, the fact that the shark has initiated a bite means that it's all over as far as the achievement is concerned. So apparently this was also the case for Clever Girl achievement in Peru in Tomb Raider 1. Let's try and do this without even initiating the bite, and that means being out of the shark's way. And by the way, be very careful, I explained this in my previous level, but these guys do not understand verticality, meaning regardless if Lara is above them or below them, they'll start biting, and that will invalidate your achievement, okay? See? We were literally 2 meters under that shark and he started biting. So you must ensure you do not hear that sound. There we go, no matter what. And that means over and under swimming them also isn't the solution, which is gonna make this extremely difficult. But that's what I'm here for. Let's do this properly now. Okay, so let's move out of their way completely. Our previous attempt at least showed us where they are. You can also scout ahead with the photo mode. As you can see, they're making a turn, trying to reach us here. But let's not slow down, not even for a second. My objective is to grab the key we've been seeing from the other side of the captain's cabin, behind these windows over here, which is pretty damn cool to now be on the other side. Again, if you have trouble seeing the key, make sure to switch to the original graphics. And now, it's not really about making it out of here as much it is... Oh, no. Okay, I did not hear any biting sound, which is very good. So the achievement should still work. Let's go here. Not just to grab some air, but to get our hands on the third and final secret of this massive level. And look at the reward. Grenade gun is back, baby. Right now we have 18 grenades. My god, is it gonna come in useful? And you know what this means? This marks the point when we have finally all weapons in the game. This is the first point where you can have that. So, if you're using a keyboard by any chance, you press 1 for pistols, 2 for shotgun, you press 3 for the automatic pistols, you press, you press 4 for the Uzis, you press 5 for the harpoon gun, you press 6 for the M16, and you press 7 for the grenade gun. The other hotkeys essentially are about popping small and large med packs. I think it's 9 and 0. I'm not sure what number 8 does, to be honest. Probably nothing, but yeah. When it comes to controller controls, you need to hold the inventory open screen and then use either the triangle, circle, square, or X, and then L2, L1, and I think R2, but R1 will make Lara get the flare out. I think that's how the hotkeys are on the controller. Sorry, I'm not as familiar with the controller support, even though I am still playing these games on PlayStation 4 and 5. Now, I'm gonna save the game here because this is an important milestone. Getting out will not be easy, and it all comes down to where the sharks are. Let's see. With our photo mode. Okay, one is prowling over here, the other one is far away, so the trick will be to avoid this one somehow, and we have failed already. Wonderful. So I think it would be best to give it a little bit more time to move away, unfortunately. You can use all sorts of evasive maneuvers, but if these guys decide to bite, that's it. Thankfully, photo mode is your friend, and it just revealed to us the shark is facing the other way. Again, let's do this. Oh, god damn it. How? Okay, the shark did not bite, the barracuda did, but we don't care about that. Getting barracuda bites will not invalidate the achievement, thankfully. So yeah, your best clue over here is again listening to the sounds, because sometimes they'll make the biting animation and you will not even see it, which is frustrating to say the least. Okay, there we go, we made it out, and unfortunately the source of distress and anxiety is that you will never know if you made it up until you finish the deck level. I can't begin to tell you how anxiety-inducing this is, okay? Now, if you're not interested in the secrets, what was the point? Well, this key over here, okay? So this should be, I think, so-called cabin key. So we are gonna enter the captain's cabin, and again we're gonna see this absolutely grating level design where there's a hatch and a switch next to it. Do you think the switch will open the hatch? Of course not. No, it will open a hatch outside, but not even in the correct place, so you still need to move this block just to get it to the correct place, allowing you to press the switch, which will open a hatch inside the captain's cabin. Now, I'm not saying this is fundamentally a bad level design, but I feel like good level designers would hide this, you know, make people go on interesting side quests. I feel like Tomb Raider 3 Lost Artifact did an absolutely outstanding job of this. But here, it's just so blatant that I think it really only serves to irritate people. Now, if you'll forgive me, I'm gonna save here again, because a lot can go wrong here, and I'm not talking about health loss. So what we want to do is we want to kill the enemies that can fire back, but also 2 particular pesky divers in the water. Okay, that's 1 diver down, and we want to kill another one, because unless you kill them here, there is a very big chance one of them will get stuck in rocks and become unkillable. Which is exactly as annoying as it sounds. Okay. Now, there is a second diver somewhere in the water. Let's just use this photo mode to sneak peek where. By the way, do not make it into the water before you're ready to finish the level because of an achievement that we're gonna tackle. But first, we need to get some good angle on this guy. If we're not gonna kill him fast enough, he is gonna swim to this corner and face into the rocks, and essentially Lara will never aim at him. If that happens, you still have a way to kill him via using lots of harpoons and wasting lots of health, but it's better to not even let that happen. So keep your M16 ready and snipe him as best as you can. If he doesn't appear, make sure to make rounds around this grand ballroom or whatever its purpose was, and try and line up a shot from oh, there we go, different angle. There we go, both divers are down. I can't begin to tell you how glad I am that's the case. And right over here is the safest place for us to get down, because this is not slippery. By the way, absolutely adore what they did with these tiles. You could already make out that it was supposed to be glass of a glass dome back when it was not turned upside down and this was the floor. However, now there's actual light reflecting on them. And in the reflection is this weird aquatic texture we've seen from some of the windows next to the captain's cabin, if you can make out the reflection. It's a bit odd. Again, these are not real reflections, unfortunately. I mean, Tomb Raider 1 on PS1 already pulled it off in 1996. These are fake reflections. But if you're not checking them up too closely, it's fine. Honestly, I'd rather there being fake reflections than this causing all sorts of technical issues with either performance or graphical glitches or something like that, okay? Okay, so let's pick the goodies up. We need all the M16 ammunition we can get, because I've been using it a lot here, all in the hopes of preserving as much health as humanly possible, okay? So now, what I'd like to do is just quickly check if we have all the items in this level. Oh, thank God. You can't believe what a relief this is. 41 items, and since we ignored 3 Barracudas and 5 Shark, we should have 27 kills at this point. There are 3 more kills we are gonna encounter down in the water. Talking about water, there is an achievement associated with it, but a lot can go wrong, so again, I can't recommend saving enough. So there is an achievement called Nervous Wreck, which asks you to swan dive into water and finish the level without taking damage, which is a challenge in its own right. But I'm gonna show you how to unlock it, and then also how to kill the final 3 Barracudas in the water. If you're in it for the achievement, again, it's better you ignore them and just outswim them. And oh, I never noticed reflections in the ceiling. That is really cool. Fun fact, I think this is a direct sort of, I don't want to use the word rip-off because that already has such a negative connotation, but it's essentially the same achievement there was on Retro Achievements. I think it was called Killer Swan or something like that. And it's now on screen, so we can compare even the description of these 2 achievements. So it's funny because it feels like just a short while ago I did it for the PlayStation 1 version for Retro Achievements, and it's really the same achievement. By the way, if you're worried that killing the divers from the surface before you make it into the water invalidates the achievement, it does not, right? And what this tells me, that they use the same achievement from Retro Achievements, I'm actually happy. This tells me that Saber have checked out the Retro Achievements before implementing their own. It's a point that I've been talking about back in my thoughts on the reveal trailer and information like that video. earlier this year when they revealed some achievement pictures and information about that. And I was like, I hope these guys will be inspired by retro achievements, and this tells me they were, which is awesome. So, into the water we go. Remember, it has to be a swan dive. And now, we're gonna find this part. Again, follow the barrels if you're confused about where to go, okay? And again, easier to see in the original graphics. I'm gonna light up a flare for you. And now, avoid these. These are eels hidden in the dark corners of the ocean. And okay, they look absolutely goofy in the originals. I think they are way more realistic now. I'm still gonna take a screenshot of these. These I'm not counting as enemies. It's not because they're unkillable, and I have tried firing harpoons at these guys. They do not connect, nothing happens. But rather than counting them as unkillable enemies, well, they're not enemies at all. They are more of traps. They just remain in one place, and if you approach, they'll bite. But they do not actively move around and chase Lara, like the death beetles in Tomb Raider 4 did, which is why I counted those as enemies, right? So let me show you how to avoid them, hopefully, with the flare-up. Okay, again, this is all for the Nervous Wreck achievement. Okay, careful not to get bitten by these guys, because this will invalidate the achievement. And just swim right over there, okay? There we go, Nervous Wreck achievement unlocked. But you know what, I can't just leave it at 27 kills. I'm gonna see you here in a second, but first let me show you how to kill the 3 barracudas. Okay, so back here, we no longer need to worry about fulfilling the achievement's criteria. Of course, if possible, I would prefer not to get hurt, simply because I don't want to use a medpack when finishing the level. But even if we do get bitten, we can still keep going. But we should worry more about not getting bitten by the barracudas. Okay, just hang the ceilings of these corners and ledges and you should be fine. This is very tricky, and I want to show you how to do it without wasting your harpoon gun ammunition, in case you are interested in all the kills and need to save it up for other enemies, okay? And let's lure one more closer to the opening. Oh, it's behind us. I think in this area they sometimes tend to blink in and out of existence, and it's really irritating in that regard. Okay, where are you, you little fish? If this keeps going on, maybe I'll harpoon it. Oh my god, it's leaving? They are so stupid. Or maybe smart. Maybe they know exactly what I'm trying to achieve here. And they're doing everything they can to get on my nerves. No, do not bite Lara's ass. Please, 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 please. And you know what? We have health to spare. Let's lure it all the way up. So we can blast it, maybe. Oh, there we go. And now... Thank you, Lara. You finished the job. Okay, so that's why I promised at the beginning, 30 out of 35 kills. And now I can make a level save here for our No Fish Soup Today playthrough. There we go. And let's see the stat screens, the proper one, of our first playthrough. There we go. 3 secrets found, 41 pickups, 30 out of 35 enemies. If you want to see me fix that, stick around for the second part of the video. We have broke all the breakable objects and we have unlocked this level's one and only achievement, Nervous Wreck. So, this was the No Fish Soup today. Again, if you're interested in all the kills, stick around. The point I'm most happy about is the fact that we have not used the medpacks. However, I am now gonna challenge myself to do the same whilst killing those sharks and barracudas and making our kill count 35. And that's going to be a tall order for a no medpacks run. Nevertheless, guys, I hope you found this video useful. In case you're only interested in the achievements, not all the kills, I'm going to see you next time in the living quarters. If you are interested in all the kills, please do stick around for the following montage. Okay, here we are back again. Again, just for full transparency, I am using our all kills run. So I started at that playthrough of 40 Fathoms. This, according to my PlayStation 5 testing, should in no capacity invalidate No Fish Soup Today achievement, okay? But we're focusing on kills now. So, let's check out our harpoon gun ammunition. We want to accumulate as much ammunition as we can for the showdown with the 2 sharks and 3 barracudas. After that point, I would like to save up 6 or 8 shots for a diver in the next level, who is very difficult to kill without a harpoon gun. But other than that, you should be golden, okay? Now, remember, there's a particularly nasty diver right at the beginning of this level, guarding more harpoons. What I want to do is, just like before, finish him off with our automatic pistols, rather than wasting precious harpoon gun ammo. We've practiced these amazing maneuvers before, starting in diving area. And now, Lara, it's up to you. By the way, my objective once more is not to use a med pack when tackling this run, okay? We'll see how that will go, because we'll be at a much bigger threat of sustaining barracuda and shark bites than before, but that's essentially it. Okay, and let me show you every single kill in existence in this level, up until we reach the point with the sharks.
Aha.
Diving in, we have 39 harpoon shots, which is amazing. We've been saving this up, and I don't think we've missed with a single harpoon for the sharks in the previous level. It's one of the reasons why I also included the harpoon gun collection in this montage, just so you are as well equipped as humanly possible for this encounter. To bring down 2 sharks without missing takes 16 shots, and 3 barracudas is 9 more shots on top of that. That means 25 shots assuming we hit with every single harpoon, meaning there should be a leftover of roughly 14. I'm hoping we'll get to keep and carry over at least 8 harpoons into the next level for a particularly tricky diver. Other than that, we should be good. Now, this is tricky also because of the limited oxygen bar, of course, so we'll at some point need to go for a rebreather, given how long this takes. Don't worry about those shark biting sounds. They will not invalidate your achievement in the previous playthrough. Not a single bit, okay? Okay, I think we are doing great, but we can do even better, surely. That's 1 shark down. We can fire off 1 more shot before we'll have to reload. Oh, did we even hit anything with that one? I'm not so sure. Okay, looking at our oxygen bar, we need to make it to an air pocket very soon. Of course, the one where we started is much closer. However, I'd like to use this opportunity to pick up the 3rd secret on our way to becoming the predator of the oceans. There we go, we just barely made it. Now, occasionally, you might be able to hit something off in here. I once managed to kill a shark who managed to swim up real close. Oh, that looks hopeful. Oh, that looks really hopeful, unless he turns. No? No, no such luck. Maybe if we were to dangle Lara's sexy legs in the water for longer, he would make it up. Okay, anyway, that's our 3rd secret. You've already seen me pick it up in the previous playthrough, but now all we gotta do is descend into the water in the correct moment and not be ambushed by them, but rather the other way around. Shark is closed, but his back is turned, so... Oh, not anymore, it seems. Okay. Alrighty then. So that means there's 1 barracuda. Oh, there's still 2 barracudas. Okay. See, shark tails are easy to chase, and now all we gotta worry about are these two fish. Okay, this one fish. Ah, it's still alive, but we hit with that harpoon. We have 12 shots. That essentially means we missed with 2. Okay, so we missed with 4. Nevertheless, at this stage, we should have enough harpoon gun ammunition for the diver as well. Let's quickly make it to the secret cave air pocket. I might have miscalculated our oxygen bar there. Whew, this is gonna be a really close call. My hands are literally shaking. Let me also catch some air here. Okay, we did it, right? Now, if landing all the kills in the game is not worth this, I can't blame you. This is an absolute anxiety-inducing nightmare. But yeah, you know what makes it more fun? And it really clicked in my head when I realized this. Think of swimming more as flying. And that suddenly felt like, you know, this could be an air fighter dogfight, or, you know, 2 flying jets chasing one another and shooting at each other, because you're always trying to hit them from behind and they're trying to bite you from behind, right? So that's essentially all it is. Okie dokie, guys, I'm gonna see you when I'll land the final few killing blows. This right here is the kind of final stat screen I want to see. So hopefully you found this guide useful. From now on, like I said, if you have 6 or 8 harpoon shots, you are good. There are of course some sharks also in the 4th, the deck level, but all the fish enemies there can be easily killed off from solid surface with even your pistols, so you don't have to worry about harpoon gun ammunition there. And there's just one tricky diver in the next living quarters level. So I hope you found it useful. Whether achievements or all kills and nice statistics are your priority, in my case it's both. This is the kind of stat screen I want to see. We got essentially everything we did in the previous playthrough plus those 5 kills, and we made it without using a small medbag, although you could have perhaps seen at the very end our health situation was absolutely critical. Very happy about one of the scariest levels of Tomb Raider 2 turned out, and it's gonna get even more gorgeous in living quarters. So that's where I'm gonna see you next, but only after I thank my absolutely amazing patrons. Blank Goopel, Mick, Severin Drex, Marek Malec and Katie Danger, thank you guys so much for being my Winston and for treating me to a delicious cup of coffee in Maria Doria Cafe. Next, a very big thanks to my caretaker Winston, Michael McGonkey. Thank you so much for treating Lara being pierced by harpoons from the divers, shotgun shells, rifle bullets, being hit in the head via massive wrenches, being bit by barracudas, underwater eels, and sharks. She can keep going thanks to you. Next, a very special thank you to my one and only veteran Winston, Andrea Paviglianetti. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, sir. And also, thanks to you, we got our hands on the grenade launcher that was so unjustly stolen from Lara back in Offshore Rig. This marks the point where we have all our weapons, all well polished and maintained thanks to you, and we'll put them to an excellent use. And finally, I would like to give very big and special thanks to my one and only fine vintage Winston, Akira Foxmine. Thank you so much for so generously supporting my channel. It helps out a great deal, helps keep me going, and also by the virtue of you being frozen in time, you helped preserve the beauty of the Maria Doria wreck in all its past glory. Thanks to you and your special powers, we were able to appreciate the grand staircase room, the cafe, the pool area, and there's so much more to look forward to in the upcoming living quarters level. And also, thank you to everyone who has made it this far and watched the video. I really do hope it was helpful, regardless of whether you're after all the achievements or 100% in-game statistics. I kind of try to cater to all of you. If you found this video useful, feel free to check out also some of my other work either here on YouTube or on my Patreon. You will find 100% kind of guides for all sorts of video games. You might just discover that we share more favorites than just Tomb Raiders. Thank you also for sharing your thoughts and feelings. If you would like to support me further, which would essentially enable me to take more time off work and do these videos, I would be very grateful. None of my content is advertised in any way or monetized. I'm trying to keep these as ad-free as possible so that you will not be interrupted when focusing on these guides. I just find YouTube ads incredibly annoying. I understand why they exist, but I chose to have all my videos demonetized. If you were to decide to support me, I would give you a shout out in each of my videos for as long as you remain a supporter. That's really the very least I can do. It's still a new thing for me that I've opened up a Patreon and that some of you have already decided to jump on board and help out. It's kind of an incredible feeling. And yeah, I'm very happy about that. Stay on the lookout for more stuff to come. I'm trying to release at least one video per week. I want to increase this rate to at least 2 videos per week. And sometimes I am successful, but I'm hoping to increase it more and more. Enough blabbering. Let me get to practicing Living Quarters, which is probably even more beautiful level than the Wreck of the Maria Doria was. So you have a lot to look forward to. See you next time and happy raiding.